News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Brought to you by the Pee Wee Herman Look-alike World Championships. Contestants will be judged on costume and appearance, as well as their ability to display those unique Pee Wee Herman mannerisms that children find so funny and that gave the rest of us nightmares. You'll never forget what you see at the Pee Wee Herman Look-alike World Championships.
I think they have an eye wash station over there when you leave, Allan.
I'm going to need brain bleach. That's all I got to say. Oh, my goodness.
Let's hope so. Saddle up, everybody. And anyway, welcome to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning.
I'm Allan Gilbert with GeekySideTV.com.
You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989, or check us out on our Facebook page. Definitely do that. Go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. Give us a like. Check out the must-have item of the week, which is already up there, Allan. People that need those spoilers, you know, they can get them there and interact with us that way. Well, it's been a couple weeks, since we've been here. Well, the Tigers, you know, they're you know, they come first around here, let's face it.
The games are a little more exciting than we are.
Yeah, probably. So they've been preempting us in a way. And also, let's face it, we were really busy with the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention, which was last weekend, and what a blast that was. But to be honest, Allan, it's always nice to have it. It's always nice the week after to kind of catch your breath and refocus our efforts. And boy, are we refocusing them today, Allan. Today, how about this? What do you think of this? In honor of Thanksgiving, we're gonna give thanks for the tools and the home improvements that we appreciate. What do you think of that?
Absolutely.
There's any number that I can.
I got
think
a
of.
truck full of things I'm thankful for.
I don't know if this is gonna. Okay, you've got a 30 years of stupid that I'm not even gonna tease because I've seen this before. And it's amazing how often this happens.
I saw it again this week.
Yeah, holiday feng shui, Allan. This is your baby.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I know where we're going with that. And forget gift giving. The holidays are a great time to stock up on tools for yourself.
Yes,
take advantage of those sales. So we're gonna dive into all that. It's gonna be a pretty full show. We're really glad to be back, and of course we're always happy to have our buddy Max behind the glass there. So it's all coming at you today on Tool Talk Radio. But before we get to any of that,
and now Tool Talk Radio's weekly salute.
Webster's Dictionary defines the word fundamental as the following: forming a necessary base or core of central importance. When preparing a team for the season, any coach will tell you that even the most talented players, a team won't win unless they execute the fundamentals of that sport properly. Very true, 2021 Chicago Cubs. When preparing a young student for success, any good teacher will tell you that no pupil will be able to thrive unless they grasp the fundamentals of reading, writing, and arithmetic. When hosting a radio show, it is fundamental that you research the topic of discussion thoroughly to ensure that you are providing your audience with accurate information. We're just going to overlook that one. And, of course, when Allan Gilbert decided that the best way to improve the curb appeal and security of his home was to install a 40-foot watchtower in his front yard, outfitted with sonic cannons, laser-targeted tranquilizer dart launchers, hot oil cauldron, and a falcon nest, Allan believed that for resale considerations, the most fundamental issue to tackle before beginning construction was to be sure he chose a paint color for the tower that tastefully complemented the look and feel of his home, as well as the rest of the homes in the neighborhood. Well, at least you're being thoughtful, Allan.
Carl's got to have a nice nest up there.
Yes, there are some things that you simply have to get right in order to achieve success, especially when it comes to building a home. No matter how fine the craftsmanship of the construction team, it means nothing without a solid base on which to build. So today, we celebrate the platform on which today virtually every home in America is constructed. My friends, we give you the concrete foundation.
Oh, yeah.
I knew we'd get there in the end. So, yeah, I'm still kind of curious about this watchtower, though, Allan. I'm going to be following the adventures of that with great interest.
The real trick is to paint it like the tree
Yeah, yeah.
So that you don't really notice.
Absolutely. All right. Well, so Alan, the concrete foundation is another one of these babies where it was interesting because you start doing the research, and it took me back to 6500 BC. The Nabatea, I don't know, I don't even know how to say, but it looks like it came from Western Asia, where some of the first homes where they used concrete construction. Does that sound about right to you? You were there.
Well, it wasn't concrete like we think it.
Right.
But it was recessed into the ground, and it basically gravel, stone, and packed earth lined.
Yeah.
I mean, I can jump as far forward. You're talking about packed earth or hardened floors.
Right.
We just had a Memphis landmark. Poncho's Restaurants just closed. All right. Very funny thing. Back in the 50s, the very original Poncho's Restaurant had a packed earth floor.
Yeah. Working in a food plug and sideways. Okay, go ahead.
There you go.
Okay. Well, here's the thing that's interesting.
Well, that's just how widely spread it's been.
Oh, yeah. Well, what's interesting is they also, in the old days, used to use brick floors, but then they'd stick mortar in between them. And you have to wonder if that might have even been sort of an origin of concrete. Like, wait a minute, instead of all these bricks, why don't we just pour this out into one solid slab, and there you go. So,
well, that's when you step up into the Roman world.
Right.
And they really got into where they were mixing concrete and pouring it into forms.
Absolutely. But it's actually, it is absolutely essential to have a solid foundation, and the concrete foundation has served us well over the years. Well, we hope we're going to serve you well over the next 2 hours here on Tool Talk Radio. Good luck with that. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to us on News Talk 98.9, The Roar, Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk about, holiday feng shui.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
One of these days, you're going to get yourself killed, you know that, and I will be... Ah!
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
Max, take that hammer away from Allan. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbert from Geeky Side TV. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989, or go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. Give us a like. Do that anyway. Follow our adventures there. Send us your pictures and videos, especially videos of cool home improvements you've done or failures that you want to confess to the world. Those are always good.
And they can always binge us on Spotify.
Yeah, absolutely. Allan has you've been a lot better at getting us up quickly on Spotify. So that is one of my favorite platforms anyway. I listen to that. That's pretty much what I listen to everything through. So check us out. You can binge listen. Really, we are getting bingeable now, Allan. We've racked up quite a number of shows, and they just keep growing every week. So.
Every week I love watching the little needle rise.
Yeah.
It's like, and how many people listened this week?
Yeah,
So,
and from what parts of the world? See, you're the statistician. You like to check exactly.
We're in India, Great Britain, Canada. I just thought that was just fun.
By the way, if you are in one of these, if you are outside the United States, send us a message. We'd love to hear from you.
Oh yeah,
go to
absolutely.
Tool Talk. Go to tooltalkradio.com. Shoot us a message that way, or really send us a message from Facebook. I think that's the way to go. So, you know what else is the way to go, Allan? When you have a heating or air conditioning problem, probably it's going to be a heating issue now because let's face it, the AC is going to be taking a rest for a while. But you need experts in that. You don't play games with your heating and air conditioning, and you really want, especially in these times where you've got these supply shortages, you really need someone that knows their stuff, and also somebody that is somebody you can count on with a stellar reputation, and that's the good people at Brown Refrigeration, Heating and Air Conditioning, as well as the clean air systems. I've really become a big fan of the Remy Halo system. Especially this time of year. I don't know, Allan. I've noticed I'm a little more phlegmy. I notice I sneeze more. It's just what's going on in the air with all the leaves falling?
Welcome to mold and mildew season because all of that organic material starts breaking down. We get lots more spores.
Absolutely. So, and then of course, not to mention their smart home technology. It's really getting to the point where just through technology, it's you can make your home so much more efficient, clean, enjoyable, and and stay on top. You want to stay on top of it too with getting your units tuned up every year.
Oh, yes.
They have great deals for that. They're just all around good people. And one day we are going to get Mrs. Brown on the show if it kills us. So get in touch. And in fact, call them and petition to get Mrs. Brown on Tool Talk Radio. Give them a call.
She's going to love all those calls, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. Flood their switchboard with at 901-362-1881 or go to their website, brownref.com. Yeah, good people over there. In fact, Larry, we need to talk soon. I did try to talk to him the other day, and he sent me a text. Just he's buried. They're
so
running
busy.
wild. So
yeah. Busy.
In fact, I wanted to have him on this week, but he's like, we'll have him on soon. But he's too busy. So all right, Allan, let's talk about holiday feng shui. We're big supporters of feng shui, which maybe I know it's a common term, but I feel like you should at least explain what we mean by feng shui.
Well, feng shui today is kind of used very loosely for decorating, rearranging your house, kind of, and one of our favorite phrases, admitting your lifestyle, doing what you need to do.
I hate that phrase.
But you're the living example of it. But you do it.
All right.
The feng shui is basically the balance and harmony of your house.
Right.
And the holidays has a way of disrupting the balance and harmony of your house.
But before you switch to that, Allan, I do want to say, one of the things I am proud of in my own life, even though I do hang around you and Brandon Olmsted, I don't invite drama into my life. I keep drama at arm's length because I'm like, why do you... Okay, you can't help... You're going to get a level of drama in your life anyway, but why bring it? Why do it on purpose? Yep. Why create circumstances that make your life dramatic or unpleasant? And a lot of times you go into somebody's home and you walk in and you're like, I would be stressed out living here because they got stuff in the way, or the way it's laid out, you have to move around, or it's dark, or it's just cluttered, or it's just not laid out in a comfortable way. And I think that's part of what feng shui is all about, right?
It is, at least in we'll get where I can get the talk here in a second. Yeah. At least in the direction we're talking about, because all right, it's one thing for just you and the family to be loose in the house, and the one thing people don't admit is that when they make a change, you have to change things around the house. Sure. So XYZ just moved home. We had Demetria Vaughn talking about re-nesting. Yeah. And that was a lot of rearranging. You're about to get invaded by your family, friends, relatives, and all that. Well,
I like how you use the word invasion.
Let's just be brutally honest about this.
Yeah.
Everybody's got that uncle, insert name here, that could, let's just face it, he's a big guy.
Right.
You don't want him near the wicker.
Yeah.
What can I tell you? You've got a few relatives like Max over here that you could slide between the cracks.
Right. Yeah.
You could stack 4 of them in the same place as dear uncle.
Yeah.
You've got the kids, the roamer. Are they going to bring a pet with them? Mm-hmm. You have a daughter that visits that like brings
Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase.
Yeah. So these are things to start thinking about right now, immediately today. As you are listening to this show, look around your room while you're enjoying your coffee and go, wow, if I took that coffee table out of here on Thursday, we would have so much more room when, 5 people come rolling into the living room.
It's funny because when you started this conversation, or, when you sent this in our show prep last night, I thought this was going to be about the decorations, but this sounds almost like a battle plan, defending your home against the invasion. It is a battle plan, and it does include the decorations.
Don't decorate in such a way that, Aunt Millie's hair is going to wind up in that lovely, that lovely bit of decoration you hung across the doorway.
Yeah.
So decorate judiciously and be prepared. I mean, let's be honest. You're going to have 5, 10, 15, maybe 20 people are all going to show up at the house. And if there's a couple of pieces of furniture, you can duck into a back room and be prepared. And I like to we'll just call it crowd management.
That's what it sounded like, yeah.
Well, and it should. And don't, and I love these people that, have the 5,000 throw pillows.
Oh, yeah.
You can't sit on anything for the number of cutesy pillows with
Right.
pictures of their
There's
cat
like
on
2
them and that
inches
kind of
of
stuff.
couch space. 'cause
Right.
The pillows.
You know
so,
what?
yeah.
Backroom that stuff.
Right.
Literally think in terms of your Disneyland park and you're opening the doors first thing in the morning. What do you want to have destroyed? What do you want to have knocked over? You've got that favorite plant. You know what? Backroom that baby. Because that favorite plant is probably going to get dumped by Aunt Millie's cat.
Okay, Alan, you know what you're making me think of now? Because I almost feel like you mistitled this, because it might be better to say holiday battle plan, because now that I'm thinking about this, my mind always goes to the passive aggressive opportunities in a situation like
well,
this.
there you go.
So let's suppose Aunt Millie is coming over.
Right.
And she's the one that gave you that really hideous, ugly porcelain figurine that you just can't stand, but you display it because Aunt Millie gave it to you. Well, what if you were to strategically place that in an area where it's bound to get destroyed?
Well,
because the little twins come over, and it's just at that level where, boy, one swing of the throw pillow and they knock it over.
I would never condone the accidental destruction of really hideous gifts.
Because think of you could purge like that movie. You could purge all of the annoying stuff out of your life by
think of all of the cool stuff you want to keep and all the junk you want to get rid of, and how to swap out those levels.
That's what I'm
there
thinking.
There you go. Put that junk down on the low level. Guaranteed to get took out.
Does that count as feng shui? I feel, but see, if it's bringing peace to your life,
well, think about how much happier you're going to be.
Right.
On not Black Friday, because that's just crazy.
Yeah.
But the following Saturday or Sunday, when you're cleaning up and you're putting your house back into your level of harmony and balance, how much easier and nicer it will be.
Okay. All right. I really like this idea too. So. All right, Alan.
You really have a vase you really hate.
Well,
don't you?
I'm just thinking there's so many possibilities with this. So
y'all can't see his eyes, but I can.
Yeah,
and he is thinking hard, ladies and gentlemen.
I do want to say something, Alan, because you came up with a solution for the Christmas tree that I don't want to forget to mention, and this is more of what I would call mental feng shui. This gives you peace of mind. Tell us a good way. There's a trick you talked about to keep the tree from tipping over.
Yeah, tie it to the ceiling.
Okay, explain quick. Yeah, explain what you mean by that.
All right, we've always had these lovely little hooks that you can put into your ceiling or the wall or something like that for plants or for hanging ornaments. Well, put one above where you're going to put your Christmas tree, and then run a fishing line or something nondescript down from that hook into the tree. Tie the tree up so that when your beloved cat takes a flying leap into this giant amusement park you just brought into the house.
Yeah.
Now the tree isn't going to go crashing over.
Yeah. I'd say 3 or 4 lines just to be safe. But yeah,
depending upon the activity of your cat and dog.
Because you don't know. And you might be the person to knock it over, or your
somebody may
12-year-old,
trip and fall, and it's
That's one of your better tips, I got to admit, Alan. So, but holiday feng shui, why don't we keep this as an ongoing segment? Because I feel like you've sparked ideas. And we'd love to hear what our listeners think of this as well.
Be honest. Get those throw rugs up. Get those throw pillows out of the way. Get your favorite plant moved back. Leave your guests some room so they can have a little harmony and balance while they're visiting the house.
Absolutely. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio here on News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. Boy, what a great discussion that was. Alan, we're going to take a quick break, and then I'm calling an audible. You brought us a science story that we're going to dive into. 3D printed coral reefs. Go figure.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
What is the most inspiring thing I ever said to you?
Don't be an idiot. Changed my life. Whenever I'm about to do something, I think, would an idiot do that? And if they would, I do not do that thing.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
All right, we got our public service announcement out of the way. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios, where we're trying to not be idiots. I'm Joe Dorderson with Doors Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Alan Gilbreth from Geeky Side TV, and our pal Max behind the glass, who's bringing us those wonderful rejoiners and words of wisdom. You can give us a call or text at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And, of course, we invite you to jump over to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. Give us a like. send us your messages that way. That's the fun way. And like we said, Allan, we got listeners around the world, which is kind of fun. Thanks to the beauty of Spotify, which you've been good enough to get us rolling on Spotify, a great platform, very easy to use. You don't even need to download the app, folks, but I recommend doing it, actually. Makes it easier. So check out all of our, binge listen. Check out all of our past episodes over there. So, hey, Allan, in a moment, we want to dive into this bizarre story of the 3D printed coral that you brought us. And somehow you're going to tie this into home improvement.
I am.
Somehow I feel like it's going to tie more into a cooking segment, but we shall see. Before we get to that, though, I want to remind people, especially this time of year, boy, we're starting to get into that rainy time of year, Allan.
Oh, yeah.
If you've got a problem with your roof, oh, boy, don't play games with this, folks. Don't think you're going to get by and just go get a tube of, roofing tar or a few shingles and fix the problem. I've been there, done that. It doesn't work. But
it didn't end well.
No. You don't want to play, and especially today, we always talk about the advancing technology, Allan, and today we're dealing with roofing systems.
Yes.
And they're pretty comprehensive. They don't just keep the water out of your home. They actually lower your utility bills. They actually improve the age of your roof because they've got ways to decrease the heat that builds up. They've got ways to let the air move around. And the team to call for that is Big M Roofing and Remodeling. Call Jay Hill for one thing. If you're bored, just call Jay Hill. He's an entertaining guy.
Oh, yes.
Let's face it. When he shows up on the job site, there's the energy level goes to 11. Anyway, but he is a GAF Master Elite installer. He's accredited with the Better Business Bureau, 5-star reviews. He's, good housekeeping. We keep forgetting to mention the good housekeeping seal of approval. He does it all, but also the beauty of what Jay Hill does over at Big M Roofing and Remodeling is that he's a former insurance agent, because one of the big things to navigate is if you've got a insurance claim that is going to pay for your roof or pay for the majority, you better know what you're doing with that process. Not everybody qualifies, but you might qualify.
Well, there's a lot more to the process than the average homeowner actually realizes.
Absolutely.
So that's where it's always an advantage to get a professional to let you know what your options are.
Right. And when you like to have a professional that is not only a Master Elite installer, but also more or less an expert in the insurance process, and that's what Jay Hill is. So give him a call at 901-484-5645 or go to bigmroofingandremodeling.com. And we'll be getting Jay back on the show shortly. He told me he's he's busy this week. Everybody's busy. All these guys, come on, man, prioritize. They're putting on it. You can either put on roofs and service your customers or come in here and talk to us. So funny the choices they make, Allan. But all right, Allan, you were telling us. I guess this is our science story of the week.
Hail
right? Sure.
science!
All right, Max, appreciate that. So what is 3D printed coral have to do with our homes, Allan?
Well, let's talk about that for a second. All right. Well, you brought up the concrete foundation this morning, right?
Yep.
Well, what happens to those foundations when they get replaced?
What do you mean?
Are you
talking about, are we switch over from concrete to something else? Or?
Well, no, let's talk about the building got old or it's been repurposed.
Gotcha.
And now there is an amazing amount of concrete sitting there that may or may not still be reusable.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
a lot of times that concrete is broken up. And originally, we'll go back 40, 50 years, all that concrete went in a big old truck, and then they carted it off to a landfill.
Okay, I see where you're going.
So
we're talking about repurposing.
Exactly. So
nice.
Not the best of ideas.
Right.
So what has happened in the ensuing 50 years is now a lot of that concrete is cracked up, broken up, made into smaller pieces, is added to other projects as a fill or filler, so we're not wasting it. And being originally from South Texas down on the water.
Thought it was West Texas.
Of actually Houston. So
is that West? I don't know.
No, West Texas up around Amarillo. That's where I spent a lot of time also.
Not to segue, but the Joker has about 5 origin stories. Actually, he said multiple choice. Funny how you have several origin stories too, Allan.
I've lived a variety of places.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
So, but living down in the Houston area, you're down off the water, and I remember as a kid watching them take repurposed, broken up concrete, shaping it into forms, and then they would be boating it out into different areas around up and down the coast.
Okay.
And what they were doing was they were seeding coral reefs.
Okay, so because coral reefs do grow.
Yes, they're little
But I didn't
polyps.
know you could seed it with things.
Well, but you give them something to grow on.
Okay, I got. So
And
instead
that's
of
where-
growing on just sand, which they probably don't like, they probably want to grow on rocks.
They want to
and
grow
stuff.
on features.
Okay.
So your mussels, your oysters, which of course, I'm a big fan of oysters. They're very tasty.
Yeah.
I was going to get food in here somewhere.
Yeah. Keep score, Max.
but the coral reefs and all that, and this helps keep your environment in great shape. Well, now the other little factor we love is we keep talking about 3D printing and how it's changing drastically.
Right.
And it's to the point where, 3 or 4 years from now, Joe, you're going to ask me for something and I'm going to go, hang on a second, I'll print one.
Or you're going to go to your phone and activate it, and by the time you get home, it'll be printed.
You'll just go to that app and go,
Right.
oh, I need another one of these.
Right.
And you'll tell the printer to come on and get started.
I need another pipe wrench. I'm going to go 3D
Exactly.
print this thing.
Now, we've even had a story of where we've talked about 3D printing even organic material.
Yeah, you have. That's the beginning of a monster movie, but yeah.
But,
No, you're right, Alan. In fact, in the medical field,
We're 3D printing
printers-
skin.
Right, exactly.
All right. Well, I thought it was very interesting since you were talking about concrete and calcium carbonate and all of that they're now using calcium carbonate, a potential ingredient in concrete and all this stuff. They can use direct calcium carbonate in a slurry, and they can even print starter sets for coral.
So, Alan, these 3D printers, we're talking about, because we're picturing the ones in our home, but these days there's shops they can 3D print a car, like literally the frame of a car. So you're talking about massive.
They can 3D print your house,
right?
At this point, have you seen the Vulcan 3D printer? It's 2,000. It's a 2,000 square foot printer,
right?
That could actually print your foundation and concrete walls.
There you go. Yeah, it's coming, man. Well, it's here, actually.
Well, it's kind of like, Joe, look at the tie-in to this. Anything as intricate and delicate as a tiny little piece of coral, we can 3D print that, or using the same materials, we can 3D print your foundation, walls, inserts for your house.
Okay, I got a question though. Here's because when you mention this, you're talking about coral reef, which is something that grows.
Yes.
It starts with a small thing and it grows into
right.
Okay, well, are we talking about these 3D printers? Are you talking about making it out of coral, or are you making something that is going to actually expand and grow?
Well, we're talking about making the base forms for coral to grow on.
Okay, well, I'm trying to figure out how that's going to help me in my home. So.
Well, what it's doing is we're repurposing, reusing, and redesigning a lot of the things that may go into your home. If we can think about it, if we can print something as fine as a piece of coral to grow, what else can we do with that? We could 3D print a exact lamp if you wanted. A lamp base could also be made out of coral, made out of calcium carbonate or other materials. So even things like porcelains, greenware, all of these things are going to be coming to a home supply store near you.
Okay, boy, we might have to revisit this after the break, Alan, because now what you're making me think of, this sounds to me, basically you used to take the gravel and you took all this stuff and you just dumped it in a landfill.
Right.
With the hope that it's going to, which, I mean, it is rocks and everything, but what you're talking about is accelerated recycling in a way. You're talking about, okay, forget recycling that's going to take 500 years to break down or whatever.
Right.
You're talking about, we're going to do this now.
Yes.
Maybe we could clean up our act a little bit with this 3D technology instead of just, there goes all the plastic, let's dump it over there. It's like, let's throw it in the 3D
now it's a raw
printer.
material that could
right.
be repurposed into any number of new products.
So the 3D printer has some broad implications.
Drastically.
It's pretty interesting. So I think let's wrap that up when we come back. That's very interesting, Alan. I'm digging this. So all right, and also when we come back, Alan, we want to talk about the holidays are a great day to buy, or a great time to buy tools for yourself. A lot
Yes,
of big
it
sales.
is.
You're listening to Tool Talk Radio here on News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Is there anywhere in this town where we could buy a shrubbery?
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
Just forget buying. Just go to Allan's house. They've got the selection you need over there, and a few that you don't need.
I tell you what, I'm having a great deal of fun with my tea plants.
Absolutely. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from Geeky Side TV, our buddy Max behind the glass, and our, anyway. You can call or text. I was trying to make a funny remark about Max, but he's doing too good of a job. I don't want to throw him under the bus.
Well, it's kind of like Pheasant under glass. We have Max under glass, so
And he controls who can speak into these microphones. I don't want to get cut
true.
off. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989, or go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. Give us a like. Check out all the action over there, and If you can't wait, we have the must-have item of the week up there already. And by the way, Allan, we haven't mentioned it, but this is our first week in the brand new 98.9 studio. Boy, is this nice.
I got one word for it. Swanky.
Why did they let us in here? I thought they'd keep us in the corner.
Well, there's nobody else here at this hour, so we kind of snuck in.
Very impressive. I don't know if, Max, I don't know if anybody's been posting pictures or if we're allowed to, if this is super secret. But, boy, I'm telling you, folks, this is a beautiful, beautiful facility. We're really honored to be in here. And it's pretty exciting. I'm not used to this kind of arrangement. Gosh, it's big, too.
We even got comfy chairs.
You get 7 or 8 people in here, so
we could, and probably will
at some point. So stay tuned, because lots of exciting things coming at you from Tool Talk Radio. So, you know what else is exciting, Allan? When you need to remodel your kitchen or bathroom, and you get to the end of the project and you're like, "Wow, I just saved myself thousands of dollars, and it was much quicker than I thought it would be." That's an exciting feeling.
That'll put you in the holiday spirit right there.
Well, that's the feeling you get when you call our buddies at Tri-State Interiors. Call Mike Sarafolian with a last name that you're never going to be able to spell. But Tri-State Interiors is very easy to spell. I dare say you don't even have to write that down.
Nope.
And when they there's a reason they call it Tri-State Interiors too, Allan. We live in an interesting part. If you're listening to us from another part of the country or another part of the world, they call this the Tri-State area. We are minutes away from Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee. We're all sort of connected here. We're in this corner area. Well, Tri-State Interior serves a large portion of that. They have a pretty big footprint.
Basically, if you're within our broadcast range, he works there.
Right. Yeah, we have this awesome 100,000-watt tower, and they serve anybody that can hear us. You're in their range. So, but Allan, what's great about Tri-State Interiors is the focus is on craftsmanship and keeping your overhead low, because let's face it, that's what you're paying for, every bit of overhead.
Yes.
If they have a big, expensive, flashy, whatever, guess who gets to pay for that? So what's at the end of the day, what you want, what's going to be staying in your home is the craftsmanship and the installation. So what's great about them, they have some guiding principles. They do not start any work until they've ordered every piece of tile, every countertop, every cabinet, everything that's going to go in your kitchen or bathroom. They don't remove anything until that's parked in their warehouse ready to go. Don't take that for granted, people.
It's so huge, because now you're not waiting 6 weeks for a toilet to come in.
Yeah, in the middle of a project.
Exactly. The other thing I love is that they do get a little high tech on you.
Yeah, tell us about that, because this is the design part of it.
Oh, absolutely. They're going to come in and do a full 3D render of basically the before and after. They're going to look at what you currently have, and then on the computer going to show you what you can do. And the great thing with this is, if you're thinking, I really want those white cabinets, well, wait till you see it on the computer, because maybe those marbled cabinets, or maybe that quartz top, or maybe you want it granite instead. Well, you can take a look at all of this on the computer instead of having to go and make expensive changes.
Yeah, and the other thing with that is you can download it. You can put it on your smartphone, put it on your computer.
Yes.
You can invite your friends over. I don't know that that's always a great idea. Don't bring too many people into the process because you're going to get 50 different opinions. But it is nice. You can take a tour. You can even say, hey, I want to remove that wall over there.
Yes.
Or I want to, and it gives you a lot of peace of mind. It makes the process more fun. And let's face it, it avoids headaches down the road.
Yes,
so
it does.
It great work. They just do top-notch work, and you're going to be really happy with the results. So call Mike Serafolian at Tri-State Interiors. You can give him a call directly at 901-409-1333. How many threes did I throw in there? 3. Yep. It's 1333. And or you can go to their website, tristateinteriorsllc.com. Make sure you include the LLC. So, and I guess Mike, we'll be getting him back on the show soon,
yes.
too. We got a little off track with the Tiger football and Tiger basketball kind of throwing us out of schedule, and the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention last week. But we're back, people. We're back in the saddle, ready to go. So, hey, Allan, before the break, we were having a really interesting discussion, which I didn't know this is where it was going to lead. But you gave us the title 3D printed coral reefs, which I said I have no clue what this has to even do with home improvement. You've more or less told us that it's not just it's really not even necessarily anything to do with coral reefs. It's more about repurposing, reusing concrete, making it into something equivalent to the material of a coral reef. Is that right?
Well,
there's a lot of factors.
There's a lot going on here, but the big thing I took away from reading the article was, if we can do this, imagine what else we can do.
Right.
Because again, we're talking about not throwing stuff away. We're talking about repurposing. We're talking about not wasting materials.
Yeah.
And being contractors, you and I, people wonder why we measure so much. Why we walk around muttering to ourselves and writing in that notebook so furiously.
Right.
And that's because when we bid a job, we want to make sure we have everything we need for the job, but we don't want to have too much or too little.
Sure.
Because both of them cause great big delays. Well, now here we have, again, we're going to go back to your concrete foundation. It's 50 years, 70 years later, and we're going to do something else with this land. It's the previous building reached its economic value, and it's going to come down. It's time to replace this.
Sure.
So now you have a lot of basically waste.
We've all seen that, Allan. Like a building comes down or a home, and you're in your mind, you're like, okay, where is all that actually going to go?
That's a lot of material.
And it's like, and what could you actually do with it? So these 3D printers you're talking about, and of course we're talking about massive 3D printers. We're talking about things that, can, like you said, 3D print a house. So now the push is to reuse some of that. If you've got 50 tons of bricks, don't just throw those in a landfill. Put them over here. We're going to feed them into the 3D printer and suddenly reuse them.
Just think about all the crushed brick, concrete, pea gravel, and everything that went into an original construction. All of that can be crushed down, reduced in size, and now becomes the new gravel bed for that new road or that new purpose. And the way things are going to be built in the future are going to be very different than the way they're built now. So instead of having truck after truck after truck of dumping and then people smoothing and pushing and doing, in the next very, very few years, you could have truck after truck constantly feeding the hopper to what amounts to a gargantuan 3D printer printing the road or printing the foundation to your home, or something as small and permanent and delicate as, I'm going to pick on the coral reef again, little starter calcium carbonate tendrils to grow new coral on. So, I mean, that's the extreme differences here. From something as huge as a road to something as tiny and delicate as these little bitty sculptures.
Well, it's funny because that's when you talked about that was sort of my mind too, is like you talked about how in Houston they were taking gravel, they were taking things, putting it in the water to actually give the coral a chance to grow and everything. So it's not just building stuff, it's also helping nature restore itself.
Allan, I know you and Joe typically do the point counterpoint. But I wanted to present I wanted to present a little query to you because I can agree with all these the importance of all these like innovations and everything. But one query that I have is like, we have robots building the roads. We have robots building all these tiny little things of art or whatever. Well, aren't we kind of entrusting too much power and authority to machines? We might get to like a Wall-E situation or another dystopian situation if we're not careful. I just wanted to present that little scenario to you just for fun.
Well, as a point of just for fun,
Yeah.
congratulations, you just leapt from science into science fiction.
Yeah.
Because AI is nowhere near that good at this point. Right now, it takes a good old-fashioned carbon-based human being to make all of this happen. So basically what we're looking at is augmented tools. So we're really just taking the natural step in evolving how we're going to do something next.
Yeah.
A little more efficient. Joe, you're a big Star Trek fan.
Well, it's funny. In my notes here, I have the Star Trek replicator because that's what it's reminding me of.
Perfect. All right. Well, all right. The thing they don't ever mention in Star Trek is I'm going to call it the discombobulator.
Okay.
Because Star Trek never talks about what they do with their waste.
Au contraire, sir. I will tell you this. It might
I knew
even
I could
be
poke the bear with that one.
okay on Star Trek Enterprise, which I'm a big fan of that show, but I hate the theme music at the beginning. But that's
It's okay.
I digress. They did address it specifically. They said what happens when they go to the bathroom, what happens, whatever. They said everything on a starship gets recycled because what else are you gonna do? You got to recycle. So I think we may be getting to that point, not recycling everything, but taking things. You don't even take it to the garbage. You don't even take it. You throw it into this hopper you're talking about, and you 3D print, a new game console or something.
All right. You said game console. Game consoles are made out of plastic.
Right.
Guess what? I got a soda bottle right here, and almost all soda bottles are made out of fundamentally the same type of plastic.
Sure.
So all they got to do is, if you think about this on a major scale, but this is already starting to take place. These are raw materials for the next evolution in making the pellets that feed into the plastic extruder that runs in 3D printers.
Yeah, this is interesting. We've talked about this in the past too, Allan. I think if we make this financially, if you give people financial incentives to not throw their garbage or to not throw their recycling in the garbage, and maybe you get a little bonus every time you throw your bottle in there, suddenly I think we could solve the recycling issue. I think that could be it. But it's all tying together, folks. Just hang in there. We've got some pretty exciting technologies on the horizon that I think if we do them right, they could work. So, well, Allan, wow, this took a turn that I wasn't even expecting, but it's always exciting. You never know what you're going to get here on Tool Talk Radio on News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, I promise we're going to get to our forget gifts giving. We're going to talk about buying tools for yourself.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
And welcome to Hour 2 of Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from Geeky Side TV and our pal Max behind the glass. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. Which we like text. I don't know. Text seem to be the optimal thing, right? Max, you've got your nice big board where
nobody talks on the phone anymore. Everybody texts.
Well, I think that's the thing. It's like, so in text we can pull them up at any point. We can, definitely give us a text, and we would love to know what you think of. Allan started this conversation about 3D printed coral reefs, which actually led into a much broader discussion, which I think we can't just eat up the whole show. We're going to have to move along, but that's going to be revisited because, man, times are a-changing, Allan, and it's like, it's funny. You look at different paradigm shifts in the world and different technologies that have literally changed the entire face of the world, like a smartphone, like the computer, or like ways that we construct our homes, and that is going to, hopefully be for the better in the near future. And but that was a really interesting discussion. But Allan, now's a good time with the holidays on the horizon. Let's talk about just pure selfishness and greed on our part as tool aficionados and as people that love collecting tools. Honestly, this is the time to stock up, right? I mean,
I went by the big box store for one of my facilities this week, and I needed a drill.
Yeah.
And of course,
how many drills do you guys go through?
Oh my gosh!
Are you guys running them under steamrollers or something? You go through more drills than anybody.
I swear, I think they eat them sometimes.
Okay.
But
yeah.
I walk in, I'm going to walk. I know right where to go. Walk right over. But as I'm walking down the center aisle, I pass the big Christmas display by the tool company.
Sure.
And sure enough, sitting there with a bow on it was for pretty much the same price as the drill, was the drill hammer, and the battery.
Absolutely.
And I'm kind of like, they're small. I'm getting two.
Right.
So, boom, boom. And I'm going to throw in, now is the time to outfit everybody in the house with a tool bag.
Oh, okay.
Now, as contractors, you and I are both guilty of this. At your house, Joe, guess where all the tools are?
Well,
they're
I know
in your
where
truck.
Yeah, or in the garage. They're basically in my territory.
Right.
Is that what you're getting at?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But here is a point where if you need a little tool bag, and this is for at the office or any place, if you just need that little tool bag, you need a screwdriver, maybe you need a hammer, maybe you need some nails to hang stuff on the wall, now is the perfect time to go to one of the big box stores and go through the Christmas selections, because they've got pre-established kits in the bags of many different colors, by the way.
Yeah.
So if you're tired of, black, then there's blue, red, pink, whatever you want.
Chartreuse.
Oh, yeah, they're there. And now is the best time to get these little, Christmas they're basically Christmas mixes.
Yeah.
But they're great because there's a pair of pliers in there, and there's a little hammer, and there's little stuff. And this might be the perfect little office of kit that you need to take care of things without having to call the maintenance department, that kind of thing.
What are the people in your office going to think, though, when old Allan comes in with a hammer, or if Allan isn't a contractor? Are they afraid someone's going to go smashy?
I love how you think. I really do.
Very cynical over there, Max. Jeez,
that is true. All right, well, every office has somebody that doesn't need to play with the hammer. They probably have at least one responsible person you can trust with the hammer.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to tell people that RAM is a computer term, not an instruction on how to fix the printer. And a hammer is not a good way of taking care of any problem on the copier.
Yeah.
But there's always 1,000 little things. Like, of one of my favorite pet peeves is light covers being loose.
Yeah.
Just a little tiny thing. 3 seconds with a Phillips with a flathead screwdriver, and the little cover by the wall switch is not loose anymore.
Okay, and also, I guess from your perspective, it's funny how this shifted. You're basically shifting into this is a way to prevent people, or to keep people from calling you over trivial matters. You give them a tool thing.
The fact that I get to reload my truck with all kinds of cool tools is part of it too.
But my thing with this was that. You know how, the best time to buy Christmas decorations is a few days after Christmas is over because they're all on sale. Well, for some reason, this is the time of year. Well, I guess there is a reason. They're trying to make their bottom line for the year. This is the prime time if you're somebody that needs tools. So that's why you get so many great deals, and you get, like you said, you get these package deals. So even if you don't need, you might get a drill with a socket set. Thrown in for good measure. Well, maybe you only need the socket set, and then you get the drill, you give that to your cousin, and now you just knocked out a Christmas present, and you got yourself stocked up. So it's
the flip side of this is also, you would be shocked who in your family actually wants a cool little toolkit.
Oh yeah. I love that a lot of that females are getting way more interested in the trades and everything like that. So your daughter may just love a belt sander go figure.
You would be
you never
shocked
know.
and surprised. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you probably now. I just gonna have to say, you know what? You need to hint around. Maybe go do a little shopping first, because don't give somebody looking for Godiva chocolates a hammer.
Yeah. Okay.
They might use it the other way.
But stock up, people. It's a great time to get your tools. So, you know what else? It's a great time, Alan. This Thanksgiving's coming up this week. Let's talk when we come back about tools and home improvements that we're thankful for. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio here at News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. We'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
I've been going door to door looking for fire hazards. Mind if I give your place a little inspection?
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
Come on in, buddy. We have nothing to hide. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbert from Geeky Side TV. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. Or you can go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. Give us a like, send us messages that way. We'll actually respond in real time. I got my phone here, Allan. I'll get the notification and I can show it to you, and then we,
What you're trying to say is there's an app for that.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people prefer to interact that way. So do that. And at some point in the near future, Allan, I think we're going to be live streaming over on Facebook.
We are indeed.
Because we want people to see the beautiful studios we've got here at 98.9. I mean, boy, they're beautiful. So
yeah, now that we're in the new place, man, we're kind of top dog around here right now.
Yeah,
so I'm kind of excited.
It's great. So, and Max, you'll have to comb your hair, I guess. So, and I'll have to shave regularly, I suppose.
Now, I was about to say, I'm looking at you going,
Yeah. Hey, Allan, in a minute, we've got an interesting conversation about home improvement and tool Thanksgiving, basically. In honor of Thanksgiving, tools and home improvements we're thankful for. But before we get to that, I know you're thankful for Geeky Side TV, right? I mean,
absolutely.
It's been an interesting year.
It has. I'm going to start with Scott J. Carroll and all of his additions this year. He's had Under Review, which is a very strange kind of an homage, I would say, more or less, to Mystery Science 3000. It's his own version.
He's your utility guy over there. He does quite a bit.
He does quite a bit for us.
You're getting a lot of mileage out of Scott J. Carroll. So, yeah.
We do. One of the big things, of course, is his very immensely popular story time.
Yeah, those are good.
Actually been having a great deal with that. In the Memphis area, of course, Kate Mobley's has her On the Scene. And one of the biggies, of course, all through October and all that, was the Afterlife Mysteries and Scary Stories with Kalila. So they have been hugely popular. So we've been very thankful this year. We've had a lot of great new viewers find us and come check us out. So for those of you looking for something strange, interesting, or new to watch, go to your Roku TV, Fire Stick, or your Apple TV. Look up Geeky Side TV, or you can go to geekysidetv.com. We are a free subscription, so just click on it, sit back, and enjoy.
Yeah, and if you're a content creator and you think that you've got what it takes to become the next, Roku TV star, get in touch with Allan. How do they do that?
They can just go to geekysidetv.com and send us an email.
Okay, cool. Hey, Allan, it's the season of thanks. Thanksgiving is really starting to get a short shrift. We basically, I don't even know. I was seeing Christmas decorations 3 or 4 weeks before Halloween this year.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like they started shoving the Halloween decorations aside and doing that. And we never, we don't focus enough on Thanksgiving. And honestly, it's a good time to reflect on things that we're thankful for. And in the realm of home improvement and tool technology, I don't think we've ever lived in a better time. And there's so many things to be appreciative of. And sometimes they're basic things that we just overlook every day. But let's talk about a few things that we're thankful for. You got anything, sir? I got my list
The
here.
very first tool I'm going to pick out when I discovered was just basically a very small, simple little metal nail puller.
Oh.
Just the little tiny claw hooks on either end, got a little flattened on one end, got a little pinchers looking on the other. And, when you discover that one thing that you've really, really needed, and you've been doing it the hard way with the claws on the hammer, you've been really digging and fighting, and you suddenly have this wonderful finesse tool that makes what you're doing drastically easier.
Sure.
You just never do without one.
Oh yeah. Now I know you're one of these guys. You're always wearing a utility belt.
I do.
And you want portable. I know you're into the smaller, that little mini screwdriver that gets into those things that you,
yeah.
So, all right, I'm not surprised that was your first one out of the gate. So here's in the realm of home improvement, Allan. This is one that I'm thankful for. I'm excited about. We're living in a time, I would call this the advent of pre-finished hardwood flooring. I don't remember pre-finished hardwood flooring growing up, Allan. I don't know when this was introduced and when it became mainstream, but now you can. I mean, it's a time saver. It gives you so many more options. It doesn't involve. You might live in a place that doesn't have hardwood floors. You might rip the carpeting up and you've just got a plywood base there. Well, suddenly you can have hardwood floors at a very reasonable price.
Right.
The installation it's not messy. Within reason, it's a pretty. A lot of people could do it themselves, but pre-finished hardwood flooring technology, we're just at the beginning of it, but I think it's a very cool advancement.
Well, when you look at it, you have to think back that the manufacturers over the last 50 years have paid attention to what the craftsmen were doing.
Good point.
So we had tongue and groove equipment on site, and a manufacturer sat there and went, we could do that at the factory.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you knew, you could tongue and groove it. And then the next guy looked at it and went, we can put a finish on this.
Right.
And once certain technologies hit, then suddenly what else we could make floors out of exploded.
Sure.
Because now we can get anything from faux vinyls to concrete to bamboo.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's any number, and it's in every budget. You can spend up to $15 or $20 a square foot down to $1.99 a square foot.
Whatever the budget or necessity calls for.
Yeah, and it's good. And it's also, the other thing about that, Allan, you may have a shed that's somewhere in between a workshop and a place to store your lawnmower. Well, get yourself, like you said, some vinyl pre-finished. It might look like hardwood, but it's maybe a vinyl material. That can be that'll hold up outside. So just the new options, and they're just going to keep growing. So I'm definitely grateful for that. So how about you, sir? Tossing it back to you. What
Wonderboard.
Talk to me.
Oh my gosh. I think back to the early days of putting in bathrooms and repairing bathrooms and working on them.
Tell people what Wonderboard is, because I don't know that everybody knows
Wonderboard?
that. Yeah.
Wonderboard is basically a multi-layer fiber construction, but instead of wood fiber, it uses concrete particles.
Yeah, which is much friendlier to water when that
gosh.
inevitable leak happens. So.
Well, the thing about Wonderboard, it also does not shrink, contract, or expand.
Right.
It remains a consistent size. So it doesn't pop, it doesn't change sizes, it doesn't bubble paint. And when you are working in a wet environment,
right,
commercial kitchens, big bathrooms, I've even seen a house done where they did the soffits in Wonderboard.
Sure.
I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Because, Allan, I'm glad you mentioned that, because we always talk about how your home expands and contracts. And so if you just put tile over, let's suppose you rip that carpeting up and there's just more or less a plywood floor, well, that's going to expand and contract at a different rate, obviously, than the tile. You might come back a year later and you got all these tiles popping up. Well, the Wonderboard, it doesn't. It's more or less the same rate as the tile, so it's gonna hold firm, and it's got that mesh in there, so it grabs the adhesive really well. So
it's not a big feature, but when I've had to go back in and repair bathrooms or water, high water areas, oh my gosh, Wonderboard will just change your life.
Absolutely. So, all right, let me introduce a tool that I'm. This one I use probably. This is a regular in my arsenal, Allan, and it's a smaller one, like what you were talking about. needle nose pliers.
Mm-hmm.
I've got about 2 or 3 different sizes, and it's not just. I'm just thinking how multi-purpose this is. If you got a loose tooth, you can yank that out. If you're, Tom Hanks could have used that in Castaway, right? If he would have had instead of using a ice skate to.
Yeah. Oof.
But, the needle nose pliers are so handy. A lot of times what I do with those folks is, let's suppose you're doing some finishing work and you've got that little, 1.25-inch finishing nail that you're trying to tap in. Well, and you're smashing your finger because you miss. Well, you take the needle nose pliers, you hold the nail in place, and you can tap it in. It'll hold it more securely, and also it gives it that little buffer in case the hammer slips.
Right.
And it's and it's so multi-purpose. I mean, you can pull things out with it. You can grab that thing that just fell behind the car engine, that you just can't quite reach with your fingers. So needle nose pliers. I know you and I
we're going to have to be
that.
full agreement on that one.
Yeah.
The other thing I like is some of the gadgety things like telescoping magnets.
Oh yeah.
I recently discovered the magnet bar. And these have been around forever and ever, but I finally got around to buying one a couple of years ago.
Those things are really strong. You run them through your shop, or you run them through the lawn after you've been.
You run them across the parking lot, or
pick up all the screws.
Oh my gosh, the amount of weird little pieces of junk that come up, especially when you're cutting the yard and down by the street, where just debris has come up. You will be shocked and amazed what will pop up and stick to that thing.
Hey, big shout out to Jay Hill, because at the end of the roofing job, his guys were walking around our property with one of those big magnets to make sure they got any loose roofing nails. They got them off the street. They did a great cleanup. So yeah, absolutely, magnet technology does rock. And keep it away from your phone, though. I've heard that phones don't like giant magnets.
No, not really.
Right. So.
Don't play with your videotapes either.
Yeah, it's like we said, it's a season of giving thanks. So if you've got anything you're thankful for, maybe you're thankful that we're at the end of this segment. You don't have to listen to us anymore. But no, send us those things you're thankful for at Tool Talk Radio. You can send it to our Facebook page. Go to tooltalkradio.com and send it over there. Well, one thing we're also thankful for is that we can laugh at other people's mistakes. And we're going to do that when we come back with our 30 years of stupid. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio here on News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis. We'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
The likelihood of you dying violently within the next 5 minutes is 87.61%. You are about to get me killed. We will both die because of your negligence.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
Don't blame me, Allan. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbert from Geeky Side TV and our pal Max behind the glass. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989, or go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. Give us a like. Check us out over there. And also go to tooltalkradio.com, because, Allan, if they miss any shows, like if they just got out of bed and they're like, oh, doggone it, I'll never be able to hear this show again, well, they're in luck, right?
All they got to do is go to, like you said, tooltalkradio.com, and they can play back of any of our recent shows right there from the website, or they can pop that Spotify button and go back and listen on whatever device they want to carry with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Spotify is a great platform. And also, when you're over there, make sure you give us a 5-star rating and subscribe, because if you subscribe that way, whenever the new episode pops up, you'll get a notification.
Indeed.
and then you're good to go over there. So, Allan, we've got a 30 years of stupid that we're going to get to, but I've had this problem. Sometimes I don't get to our must-have item of the week in a timely fashion, and this is an easy one, so we don't have to spend all day on it. But, Allan, tell people what I'm holding up here.
He is holding up the infamous little can of plastic wood.
Yeah, and
yes,
we're not getting paid from these guys, but there's all type of wood filling options.
Yes.
If you go to our Tool Talk Radio Facebook page, you'll see the can we're talking about. And what you're going to notice that's interesting about the plastic wood is that you're gonna go, okay, they printed the label upside down, because what it looks like is that the bottom of the can is actually on the top, because the place that you open it is on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a reason for that, because there's chemical reactions going on here, Alan.
Yes.
And it's kind of like a bottle of wine that you tip the cork upside down, right? So,
right. You don't want the wine to dry out, quote unquote. You want to keep the bottle and the cork moist.
Right. Yeah. So with plastic wood, the reason it's like that, like we said, if you get your hands on this stuff, you got to work fast. This is not one of these, like you said, Alan. You don't pull this out and then go take a coffee break. You literally have about a minute or maybe 2 minutes to work with this stuff. There's sometimes where you have those repairs that you don't have all day to wait around for the stuff to dry. That's where this comes in. Maybe you don't need a Bondo because you don't have that much of a space to fill in, but you do need something that's going to set quickly.
Right.
So, and this stuff dries pretty darn hard. It dries harder than a lot of other wood fillers.
It's sandable.
You can sand it.
The big thing I've always used that for is if I'm on a ladder, and of course I'm working across someplace. So instead of having to climb down and go get stuff and climb back up, you have a little can of that in your pocket, and you just you hit that spot, and it's just big enough to be visible.
Right.
Whip that out, mold it up, put it in there, get it nice and smooth, and depending upon the brand, some of it you can actually start counting.
Honestly, you can just sit there and stare at it. It's going to dry on spot.
By the time I'm done with the next couple of inches, we're going to just slide right back over, touch that up, sand real quick, and just paint and keep right on moving.
Yeah, and sometimes you may have to put 3 or 4, like if you have a bigger gouge, it's one of these where suppose you got to put 3 coats. Well, you put one on, 20 minutes later you put another one on, and it knocks it out quick. You can stain it and paint it. Although I will say I've had mixed results with staining it. Painting is no problem. You can sand it, but I like it because also we always talk about things expanding and contracting. This stuff's a little bit hardier.
Yes,
but get it off your fingers quickly, folks, because it does not like to come off.
Nope.
And it doesn't really like to come off your clothes either. So,
but don't wipe your shirt with your fingers.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So DAP, you can send us those residual checks
to please.
Tool Talk Radio. But no, we love plastic wood is it's a must-have. And it comes in a lot of different colors, too, which is cool. So, all right, Alan, tell us about this 30 years of stupid. Let's switch from good, positive things to reprehensible behavior. So.
Well, oddly, using that product is when I found this problem.
Oh, okay. Talk to me.
Of working on we had a little news segment during this show about flip houses.
Oh, yeah. Being careful when you just buy a flipped home.
So, a lot depends upon the contractor. A lot depends upon the people that, flip the house. Of having flipped 1 or 2 myself, the big thing is you go in and you evaluate what you have going on, what you need to get done, and what you need to get to this house ready. Okay. This is where you discover what somebody did 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Says I leaned against a wall, and it gave me that weird kind of,
yeah.
It's like, oh no, and having to get on a ladder, rip off the sheetrock, look across there. This is such a rookie mistake, but you're putting in the studs, And the bad part is they even had them on 16-inch centers.
So they
got
them
that
out
part.
Correctly.
They measured it correctly. They put them in at the bottom.
Yeah.
They forgot to put them in at the top.
All right, Al, how does this happen? How does it not just when you're putting the sheetrock on,
Well,
why didn't this just tip over?
Happily, the corners were nailed in where they'd boxed it in. The corners were up, but they had gone back, and obviously they had moved a window or something on this wall.
Yeah.
And they had gone back in, and they had put back in studs to reframe this window, but they forgot to nail them in at the top.
Wait, this was an outside wall?
Yeah.
Okay.
Happily, the siding was holding firm.
That's what it sounds like.
The potential for abject disaster here boggles the mind.
You get a good wind. Now, Alan, I've seen this on the bottom of studs where you lean against it and it sort of sways like a but not on the top. That's just getting
the worst one I ever saw at the bottom. Was and this is just so weird. When you pushed on the wall, the top was obviously nailed in, but the bottom gave when you pushed on it. And everybody swore it was all correct. But of course, eventually we had to tear the sheetrock off. And what had happened is a squirrel or other rodent had gotten in through the attic, had come down the outside edge of the wall, and then had tunneled through the 2x4s down this wall, I guess each successive year doing a different nest. So basically what had happened is
they had a condo they were expanding.
I had fully expected to see a little squirrel salesman out front, telling you we had these great condos. And see,
can you imagine what that smelled like in there?
Well, it was all dry when I was in there happily, but here were like 4 2x4s in a row, chewed through at the bottom. They were not connected to the floor at all.
Yeah, I mean,
so
okay.
You gotta be. This is one of these things where it never hurts to have a checklist.
Yeah.
For those of you contemplating some kind of home renovation over the holidays or something, there's nothing wrong with a checklist. There's nothing wrong with, did we nail it in at the bottom? Check. Did we nail it in at the top? Check. Did we bother to, check of just
it's funny that you have to even make a list of that, but it sounds like you do, I guess. But the thing is, Alan, when you build a home, or obviously somebody building a home is not going to make this mistake, but you build the walls laying down, so you couldn't stand a wall up without having it attached.
But this was a later change.
They shoehorned this in,
right?
Yeah.
This was a later change, and that is where I find most problems happen. That's where I get the phrase 30 years of stupid. You got a 60-year-old house, but you don't know what happened 30 years ago when Tim lived there and decided, I'm going to change something.
I know what happened, Alan. The guy, okay, so here just based on my Sherlock Holmes, whatever, I think what happened was the person wanted to get this thing up because it was the end of the day. They ran out of nails, and they said, well, tomorrow I'm going to go ahead and I'll get the top, but for now I can get this thing held in place. Meanwhile, before he got back, somebody came along and hung the sheetrock.
Exactly.
He assumed that they had the sense to
everything
nail it
was
in.
and they just moved on down the system.
Once again, proving when we assume, you know what happens there. So,
this is like, I'm a big fan of checklist. It's like sometimes I know it's dumb.
Yeah.
I know it'd be aggravating. It may take some time, but oh my goodness, can it save you so much pain later?
And when you lean against a wall and it gives or it moves, don't just assume it needs more.
Or you hear that weird sigh. There's a weird sound that it makes. It's that crinkly sheetrock sound. That's bad.
Yeah.
Bad sound. No, your house isn't haunted. You just got bad construction.
Yeah, I'd like to have seen this, Alan. You need to get video of these adventures. So, but all right. Well, hey, let's talk about something positive when we come back. Winter gardening. We didn't tease this at the beginning of the show, but this is something we were talking about off air. So we're gonna talk about that. It's a nice way to close out the show. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. We'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
How tough am I? How tough am I? I had a bowl of nails for breakfast this morning.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
Allan, I am not hiring that guy. Get him out of here. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbert from Geeky Side TV. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989, or go to our Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. Give us a like. Send us pictures and videos of the things you're up to, in your home improvement. Tell us what you're thankful for. We mentioned a few home improvements and a few tools that we're thankful for. We dipped into that, but we'd like to know what you're thankful for. So Interact with us that way. If you miss any of Tool Talk Radio, you can go to Spotify. Give us a 5-star review if you do. Go to there. Go to the Tool Talk Radio website at tooltalkradio.com and interact with us over there. There's really no excuse to ignore
We're kind of everywhere.
Yeah, we're on Facebook. We're pretty much everywhere. So, hey, Allan, in a minute, we're going to talk about winter gardening, which sounds intriguing. That's your wheelhouse, so I'm just going to, be along for the ride. But before we do, I want to remind everybody, if you need a deck or a pergola or a patio cover or a screened-in porch or really anything made out of wood for the outside of your home, you may be thinking, well, I'll wait till next year, till next season when it warms up. No, folks. Please give me a call. I do. This is what I do, and this is my favorite time of year to do it. Some people, Allan, they're like, why would you want to build in the winter?
No, it's wonderful to be building in the winter.
For one thing, folks, I grew up in Chicago, so I laugh at this, at people calling this winter. It's like, okay, give me a break. So, but the other thing is we almost get we barely get any snow, so I'm very rarely interrupted by snow. I would much rather be working when it's 40 degrees out than when it's 95 degrees out. It's the perfect time to do it, and honestly, it's an easier time to get the selection of wood you need.
Yes,
less people are doing the outside jobs. It's really the prime time to do it, and then you'll be all set when spring gets here. Because I got news for you, folks. In the spring, I get even busier. So, this is the time to do it. So give me a call at 901-921-7105, or you can go to my website, thorshomes.com, and let's talk, because I love these outside projects. And I've been having a lot of fun in Harbor Town, Allan. I've been working down there, and it's interesting because the homes in Harbor Town are just about at that age. They were built about 25 years ago. They're cool homes, but they're getting to the point where the patios are wearing out.
It's time.
Yeah, so I'm kind of working the neighborhood over there. But anyway, all right. Well, Allan, speaking of getting into the winter, you talked about winter gardening. It sounds to me like there's not a whole lot going on in the winter, but maybe I'm wrong about that.
But there's so much that could be.
Okay.
All right. Well, one, for those of you listening to us here in the Mid-South and further south, again, we have kind of bipolar weather. Today it may be 40, tomorrow it may be 50, the next day it may be 30, the next day after that back to the 40s. So that's kind of our weather here in the South.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of cold weather things that you can still grow and have a little fun with. For instance, for those of you who are flower people, now is the time to get those bulbs in the ground. You want to get all your think about all your spring bulb flowers.
That's interesting to me. You plant them now.
You got to get them in now.
Okay.
Because when it begins warming up, they're going to activate, and you want them ready to go.
Okay.
So you can already get them in, get them mulched in, that kind of stuff. For those of you that are a little bit more into the food gardening, leafy greens, your cabbages, your Brussels sprouts, your broccolis, all of that love cool weather. And also onions, garlic, all of that family.
Wait, you're talking about planting or harvesting?
I'm talking about planting. You can grow garlic. You can grow garlic over the winter and be ready to bring it in as soon as it gets warm. Garlics, onions. Right now, I've got broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and cabbage, and they are just look gorgeous. They love these 40-degree weathers. They also like the little less on the dry side because we stay a little moister all during the winter.
Well, we get more rain, and then the rain hangs around longer because it's not evaporating in
right. It's not 95 degrees.
Right.
Right. So there's a lot that can be done, and of course, the further south you are, the greater the variety of things you can keep growing. But just right here in the Mid-South, one of my beds that I had of watermelons and pumpkins in, well, all that's been cleaned up and pulled out. I've reset the whole bed for garlic.
Okay, now, obviously, we're listening at Max, and I lost count of the food references, of course, but, Allan, you're talking about a lot of foods
right.
that are planted, but, I'm assuming there's also just regular good old plants and trees that are
well, it's a great time to do your mums. It's getting a little late in the season. You can probably get those on clearance and get those into the beds. It's a good time to swap over to the pansies.
Okay.
That is I know we love that phrase to mean something kind of weak. Man, that is a tough little plant.
That's ironic, isn't it?
That plant looks good, stays good, and grows good all winter long. Now is also a great time for your kales. There are a lot of decorative cabbages and decorative kales that you can go ahead and get in now so that you've got...
Decorative?
Decorative.
So you don't eat them?
I don't think there's any that you can't, but these are more designed for their colors and leaf textures than they would be for flavor or, how they would feel in your mouth.
That's kind of funny. Flavor with kale.
Well,
how would you even know what's edible and not edible? I mean, give me a break. It's like eating, anyway. I know Max eats his kale and stuff, so no. I know it's really good for you, too.
But, you can also get into a lot of the leafy greens like to grow this year, mustard greens and that kind of stuff. And these are really good-looking plants, by the way.
Yeah.
So they pop up and look good.
By the way,
there's some options.
By the way, just so you know, behind the scenes, we're always encouraging people to use the text line.
Yes.
Brandon hasn't stopped annoying me. He's sending messages. Brandon from Geek Tank Radio is saying he said kale is evil, tastes like a leaf. He's also
yes, it does taste like a leaf.
Said he totally needs a pergola. Brandon, we're trying to do the show here. Can you stop?
He's outside the door somewhere sending you text messages. But just read.
In other words, you don't slow down when the winter gets here.
Oh no, it's time to just change them out, roll it out. My front beds out front have, as a matter of fact, went by a big box store last week and got a variety of trays of mums that had been marked down drastically. So I had refreshed the bed with new mums. And at another facility, I went in and added, of all things, strawberries.
Huh.
And they had a raised bed in a certain walkway that always dies. And so I went ahead and they had a hanging basket of strawberries at a big box store. So I went ahead and put those into the dirt, and they've greened up and look great in the cooler temperatures. Now, they'll die off as soon as we have freezing temperatures, but they'll come back from the roots the minute it gets warm again.
Allan, if we've got listeners, because I'm thinking the Mid-South, we have a unique situation. Like we said, we might get snow 2 days a week, out of the course of a year. Last year we had like a week or so.
Right.
But mostly we don't deal with snow and the ice and everything. So, but I'm thinking of somebody living in like Chicago, like where I'm from.
Right.
Is there any gardening going on even up there?
Well, in Chicago, what you're going to be looking at there is your bed preparation and probably your low-lying evergreens like your decorative junipers and creeping evergreens like that. I'm also going to throw in, you'll usually see a lot of little micro Christmas trees.
Mm-hmm.
They'll sell little evergreens, different types of cypress, and occasionally, if you're really lucky, they're selling not tarragon, but rosemary.
Yeah.
Rosemary is an evergreen, and if you want a cute-looking little green plant that smells absolutely divine.
Oh, yeah. Rosemary is a great seasoning, and it's just a cool, like you said, you walk out and you smell it.
Well, that's one of those plants that you will touch every time you go in and out of the house if you walk by it.
Yeah.
Because it smells so good.
Oh, yeah.
So there's lots of little things you can look at. And again, it depends upon the area that you're in and the kind of weather that you have. But winter gardening is just as important to the spring as getting all your plants together when you're ready to put together your vegetable garden.
Yeah, because I always, when I was younger, I just assumed, well, gardeners, they just take the winter off, but it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like
very busy.
It's a whole different, it's just a different focus. So, and then in the warm weather is when you get to see the fruits of your labor, so to
all
speak.
that. So if you like really early, now, now's a good time to get those daffodils in or the tulips in or any of those big bulbs. And another thing I'm going to tell everybody at Christmas, that amaryllis you're going to get at Christmas. You can get the big bulb in the box with the little jar of water you put under it. It comes up and it blooms very pretty.
What is it? Amaryllis?
Amaryllis.
I don't know what that is.
It is a bulb that will bloom just out of water.
I seem to remember in science class seeing those things floating around on the shelves. Is that what we're talking about?
There's a lot of them, but it's a big Christmas gift these days. You'll see that. All right, after you do the whole Christmas and let it bloom and all that, don't throw that out.
Yeah.
They are an actual very lovely bulb that will come back up in the spring when you plant it.
Huh. Interesting. You know what's interesting too, Alan? I've seen this trend. A lot of younger people are getting into gardening. I've never really had the thing myself, the green thumb, but it is neat to see, newer generations picking this up,
Well, the other thing I will throw out is I'm somewhat infamous for initiating what I call the shot glass garden of goofy little things you can do in the house over the winter.
Right.
And if you want to do something really weird or fun, get you a mayonnaise jar, fill it up with dirt, so you can see where the water is and you can watch everything inside of it.
Sure.
And plant something like a peanut.
Well,
okay. Because it makes the little peanuts underground.
Yeah.
And this is one of those goofy little projects you can do on a windowsill with the kids.
Right.
And watch it grow and have a little, living plant experiment that you can always eat later.
Yeah. No, it is cool. Maybe one day when I settle down and I'm not running 50 different directions, I'll try to get into gardening. But it is cool. Winter gardening is a thing. Maybe we'll be bringing that up in the days ahead. So, well, Alan, I'd say we've had a pretty wide ranging, once again, wide variety of the topics here on Tool Talk Radio today. But, the clock waits for no man. So it's time to scoot out of here. So on behalf of my friend Alan Gilbreth and our producer Max behind the glass, I'm Joe Thorderson. Thanks for listening to Tool Talk Radio, and we'll see you next week.